Recurrent miscarriage can be defined as the consecutive loss of 3 or more clinically recognised pregnancies before 20 weeks. While sporadic miscarriage is common, affecting about 15% of couples and increasing with age, recurrent miscarriage affects only half to 1% of couples trying to conceive.
So on our second cycle of IVF, we had a positive result, which was wonderful, and we were very excited about it. And we went for our 6-7 week scan, got a heartbeat, and thought, woohoo, we've made it. You know, this is amazing. It's going to happen. Follow up with a 9-week scan, and we lost the heartbeat at that point. So it was very, very shattering for us, and hard to take in.
It's normal to feel a number of emotions after a miscarriage. It's a significant loss, but it can be difficult to understand for yourself and for those around you, as it's not quite as tangible as other losses. When we lose somebody that we love, there's a ceremony to mark that, followed by support from other people. There's a real public acknowledgement of that loss.
There's conflicting evidence about the likely causes of recurrent miscarriage and even more uncertainty about the management. And despite an increasingly wide range of investigations, still more than 50% of cases have no apparent cause.
Unfortunately, we continued on for the next 3 cycles. We got positive results again, only to lose the pregnancies again at that 7 to 9 week mark. So it was, you know, a hideous time for us. We couldn't understand why. We researched, you know, had regular meetings with our consultant, had numerous tests, and could never get an answer as to why it was happening. Miscarriage
is often a silent grief, and because of this it can be minimised, misunderstood, complex, and really difficult to work through.
The 3 major causes we think of are antiphospholipid syndrome, parental chromosomal abnormalities, and uterine structural abnormalities. It's important to think about contributing factors, which include increased maternal and to a lesser extent paternal age, decreased ovarian reserve, obesity, smoking, high caffeine intake, and alcohol consumption.
I find that when I speak with women who've been through a miscarriage in my role as a counsellor, it affects people in different ways. They view miscarriage quite differently. It's not actually the duration of pregnancy that determines the depth of the loss, but it is actually the attachment that the woman has to the pregnancy and the circumstances surrounding it.
So every cycle we did from that point, you know, was very anxious filled, and we never really thought that we'd get there in the end.
We normally investigate recurrent miscarriage after 3 consecutive losses. Some doctors may suggest investigation after 2 losses, particularly if there's some other factors involved, such as increased age or some subfertility. The tests performed should aim to detect the causes that I've mentioned. The most important aspect of treatment or prevention of recurrent miscarriage is really lifestyle modification. Couples need to aim for an ideal body weight with appropriate diet and cardiovascular exercise. They need to be non-smokers and reduce their alcohol and caffeine intake. For unexplained recurrent miscarriage, tender loving care, or a TLC, through a clinic with appropriately trained staff and early pregnancy monitoring seems to improve outcome. There's also some evidence that using some progesterone supplementation may help. I think if there's a cause found for miscarriage, then treatment can be directed appropriately. I think it's really important that people don't undertake treatment that's not proven, as often it's quite hazardous.
Yep. Grief is a normal response to loss. It affects women in lots of different ways. You might feel angry, sad, detached, a number of emotions, even traumatised by the experience. Remember that grief is normal and it's necessary to help you to heal, but there are some things that you can do to help you in that process. Find out how you grieve and just go with it. If you need to cry, cry. If you're feeling angry, find a constructive way to express the anger. Go with your feelings. Find someone who'll listen to you, so friends, support groups, a counsellor. It can help to acknowledge the loss by writing to your baby or in a journal.
So the effect of miscarriage is pretty horrendous. It's stressful enough going through IVF, but then to have that worry after the first miscarriage of, is it going to happen again? It always plays in the back of your mind. So I would constantly be on edge. It got to the point where I'd be wanting to have weekly scans just to check that things were okay. I really never relaxed.
If you feel a ceremony will help you acknowledge what you've lost and provide you with some closure, just choose one that feels right for you. There are many different ways that you can remember your baby. Buying a bracelet, planting a tree, whatever feels right for you. Look after yourself. Let others know what you need. If you need some space, let them know that. If you need someone to talk to, let them know that too.
On our 7th cycle of IVF, we did make it to the 12-week mark, and it was a slight relief that all the tests came back, and we kind of thought, oh, well, maybe this time it might happen. But it still, right throughout my pregnancy, played on my mind. I never relaxed and never actually enjoyed my pregnancy, unfortunately. And I guess that is the long-term impact, is that you do constantly worry that you're going to lose it. And really until I had my baby in my arms, I relaxed finally and thought, wow, we have made it here. But the emotional impact of it can't be underestimated. It is a stressful time, and we found counselling helped along the way.
If you're worried that you might be depressed, see your GP or a counsellor. There's help available if you need this, through the hospital if you've had your miscarriage at the hospital, miscarriage support groups, SANS, private counsellors. Grief can be an isolating experience, but if you share it, this can be helpful.
What couples should take home is that regardless of the cause, there's a relatively good outcome, and we'd expect up to 70 or 80% of people to have a successful outcome in the next pregnancy.
There was a great outcome, and we managed to have our first daughter, and then on my next cycle we were very lucky to get a positive, and that pregnancy was uncomplicated, and so we've got 2 lovely little girls now.